Dreams are fascinating phenomena because of their likeness to reality. When dreaming, many of the images and visual stimuli we see are based upon reality. However, sometimes these experiences are so close to reality that they are nearly indistinguishable. For example, some dreams feel reminiscent of memories, as if they took place long ago, or just yesterday. When you arise from your bed and recall these dreams, you are perplexed at their nature. Was it just a dream, or was it a memory stubbornly refusing to be recollected by the mind? The dream may not have been detrimental in any regard, but what is concerning is when the ability to distinguish between memories and dreams is lost. When the line between dreams and reality is blurred, that becomes frightening in more ways than one. To answer the question for today, the examination will begin by looking into how reality influences dreams. Next, this will lead into the characteristics of dreams and what distinguishes them from reality. Finally, the implications of dreams and their impact on the everyday will be looked into. René Descartes, in his Meditations on First Philosophy published in 1641, meditated on the notion of dreams being indistinguishable from reality. In his first meditation, he inquires as to the nature of the senses and whether they ought to be trusted. Here is what he remarks about the subject. Quote, "But it may be that although the senses sometimes deceive us concerning things which are hardly perceptible, or very far away, there are yet many others to be met with as to which we cannot reasonably have any doubt, although we recognize them by their means. For example, there is the fact that I am here, seated by the fire, attired in a dressing gown, having this paper in my hands and other similar matters. And how could I deny that these hands and this body are mine, were it not perhaps that I compare myself to certain persons, devoid of sense, whose cerebella are so troubled and clouded by the violent vapors of black bile, that they constantly assure us that they think they are kings when they are really quite poor, or that they are clothed in purple when they are really without covering, or who imagine that they have an earthenware head, or are nothing but pumpkins or are made of glass. But they are mad, and I should not be any the less insane were I to follow examples so extravagant. At the same time, I must remember that I am a man, and that consequently I am in the habit of sleeping, and in my dreams representing to myself the same things or sometimes even less probable things than do those who are insane in their waking moments. How often has it happened to me that in the night I dreamt that I found myself in this particular place, that I was dressed and seated near the fire, whilst in reality I was lying undressed in bed. At this moment it does indeed seem to me that it is with eyes awake that I am looking at this paper, that this head which I move is not asleep, that it is deliberately and of set purpose that I extend my hand and perceive it. What happens in sleep does not appear so clear nor so distinct as does all this. But in thinking over this, I remind myself that on many occasions I have in sleep been deceived by similar illusions, and in dwelling carefully on this reflection, I see so manifestly that there are no certain indications by which we may clearly distinguish wakefulness from sleep that I am lost in astonishment, and my astonishment is such that it is almost capable of persuading me that I now dream." End quote. In this passage, Descartes notices how in moments of wakefulness, the sensations are very real, or as true as they can be. Everything he sees and feels appears to be true without a hint of deception. However, the hint of uncertainty lies in the fallibility of the senses, and this is noted when he mentioned how he dreamt that he was awake by the fire, when in reality he was asleep under his bed. Now, Descartes' meditation mainly pertains to sense perception and whether we can trust our senses. In spite of this, his discussions on the senses directly ties into dreams as they involve the senses. No more will be said about his meditations, other than you should read it if you want to further your knowledge. The first assumption that should be said about dreams is that they are based on reality, or are wakeful moments. What constitutes reality will be described in more detail later on. This assumption asserts that the images we experience in our dreams must originate somewhere. Our mind does not create these images out of thin air. It needs a template to work with, options to choose from. A comparison to this occurrence would be when you are creating a visual story or video. If there are no images present, no images to choose from, then it is not possible to create a visual story. Here is another example. Imagine that you are a painter and you wish to recreate a beautiful sunset on your canvas. If you do not know what a sunset looks like because you have not seen one, then how can you possibly recreate it? The point is that the mind, just like a video editor and painter, requires visual images to create products. Without the base images, they are essentially useless, and dreams could be thought of as stories or narratives, because the mind is the architect. Reality, then, is the primary source of material for dreams, and your brain has no problem with it. One theory behind dreams is that they are the remnants of your wakeful moments, almost as if they are the unresolved issues that continue to plague your mind. This could have some merit, as we often worry about everyday stressors and moments to the point of losing sleep. Unresolved complaints, issues, and concerns is a possibility. Perhaps one's brain seeks to correct the perceived injustices of reality and shape those misfortunes into a more tolerable narrative. Dreams are delusions, but not just any delusions. They are fantasies we hope would become our reality. Okay then, how do we distinguish dreams from wakefulness? One suggestion is that when we are dreaming, we are said not to feel physical pain to the same extent as in wakefulness. But is this true? Dreams are delusions and fantasies of the mind, but they are based in reality, sometimes to a rather frightening extent. There is evidence that physical pain can be felt in dreams, but it is rare. Because of this, we cannot say definitively that the absence of pain indicates a dream state. Indeed, we can go for extended periods of time in wakefulness where we do not experience any pain. If we could go our whole life without pain, this would be desirable, obviously, but it is unfortunately not the case. Pain in dreams, as some findings suggest, stem largely from past memories where physical or emotional pain was inflicted on the dreamer. If this is so, then dreams are simply the recollection of past traumas. It may be a dream, but it may not be either. Can we really classify these events as dreams, especially when they occurred in the past accompanied by specific sensations? Probably not, although they could be nightmares, which are dreams in themselves. Another suggestion is that we do not have as much trouble recalling concrete memories as we do with dreams. This is certainly valid because we have greater recollections of our memories, events we consciously experienced. Even when they fade over time, we are far more likely to recall these happenings. Dreams are a different story, because even if it was last night's dream, we only have brief snapshots. These snapshots, or snippets, are so brief that it can hardly constitute a complete memory. We are said to forget most of our dreams as they are so discombobulated. It certainly suggests that the narratives of dreams are hastily put together, as if to meet a last-minute deadline. Memories, on the other hand, are coherent despite some distortion. This is not to say that memories are infallible. They are liable to distortion, but there is a greater degree of certainty in them compared to dreams. One last remark on this subject is that we can distinguish dreams from reality because dreams portray obvious inconsistencies and misrepresentations. For example, a common dream is that of people flying. If one believes they are flying without the assistance of any flight gear, they would more than likely be correct in thinking that it is a dream. This can also be applied to any situation where the dreamer deems it to be impossible or next to impossible. In other words, the more bizarre and improbable an experience is, the more likely it is to be a dream. However, even this assertion can be deceiving. Reality is often stranger than fiction, and so it seems we are back to where we started, almost as if we are going in a circle. The final section now is that of dreams and their impact on reality, or the moments of wakefulness. Much has been said about the inverse relationship, but now the attention will be focused on the influence of dreams. Images and experiences from reality directly impact dreams, but how about vice versa? What role do dreams play in affecting our reality? The meaning of dreams and why they occur has been pondered about for centuries. There is still as much confusion today as there was back in Descartes' time, and beyond. Dreams fascinate us, cause us to think about their meanings, and their revelations about ourselves. A second assumption about dreams is that they affect our reality, whether we realize it or not. Just like our thoughts influence our actions, so too do dreams in swaying our conduct and decisions. Dreams are arguably representation of a person's innermost desires, and if they are left unchecked, they may translate into reality. This implication is a rather dangerous one, because if our dreams affect our conduct in the waking world, how far does this influence go? Could the dreams we have change our character over the short term, or even the long term? Will they make us act rationally or irrationally? A litany of questions, but with so few answers to satisfy them. Ultimately, we do have control over our fantasies and dreams to a certain extent. If they originate from our thoughts and experiences in reality, then we do have some power. What it comes down to is which dragon you feed, the positive or the negative one. If you continually engage in practices that appease or feed your desires and fantasies, this will translate into your dreamscape. Most of the time, though, your dreams will be difficult to control and they will appear seemingly out of nowhere. A person you have not seen in a long time might surface, or an unpleasant experience may come back to haunt you. But, for the images you can control, you must be careful as to what you permit. You may be inadvertently sabotaging your reality in ways you do not expect. So to conclude, if our thoughts influence our actions, then our dreams are no different. Be careful what you wish for and what you permit, as the consequences may be more bothersome than the perceived rewards.